Do it live.
All right. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Tyranny of Dragons. Yes, this is the first officially published hardcover adventure by Wizards of the Coast for D&D 5th edition. We're sorry we're about a half hour late tonight. We were we were having some issues with the dungeon master not being present. So that's hopefully fixed. Meds are a fun thing, folks. So, yeah, let's get right into the story. These guys have been tracking this cult called the Cult of the Dragon, who have existed for hundreds of years. They existed before the spell plague that ravaged the entirety of the world. They've existed since all the way back to the Avatar crisis and the time of troubles. And it's this cult that has always, been fascinated with the idea of Dracoliches and worshiping dead dragons. And suddenly everything has changed, and they're going and looting and pillaging and taking vast amounts of wealth northward along the Sword Coast. And so these guys were asked by members of the Harpers and the Order of the Gauntlet to track these guys, figure out what in the hell they're doing with all of this money that they've never cared about before, and try and figure out what's going on, get a better idea of what these guys should be preparing for, because theoretically the Cult of the Dragon has gotten close to raising a Dracolich on a number of occasions, and it's generally been thwarted by a group of adventurers. And if a Dracolich were to be summoned, they're nothing, they're not nice things to encounter. So the cult before was a little bit of a nuisance because there wasn't a whole lot of them, and the idea that they might accidentally do something seriously bad made certain groups keep an eye on them. Now they're recruiting, there is a massive presence all over the Sword Coast and all over Faerun, and they're all working towards one specific goal that nobody knows what it is right now. So these guys have tracked them all the way to a place called Castle Nirtar in the Mare of Dead Men, which is just outside of Neverwinter. And they met someone who I'm not ever going to do the voice again for. They met a lizardman named, I think it's Snapjaw.
Yep.
And he mentioned that in this Castle Nirtar, these dragon kneelers had come recently, and they'd kind of taken over the castle, and they'd convinced the lizardmen and the bullywugs, who didn't get along at all, to kind of work together. But he felt that his people were kind of getting the raw end of the deal, with the fact that the bullywugs were the ones that were in charge, and lizardmen weren't really kind of getting their fair share of the loot or anything like that. And so, he thought that this group of adventurers might be able to help him free his people. These guys know this is where the Cult of the Dragon is taking all their riches, and they don't know what they're doing with it here. So they figure, hey, two birds, one stone. Most recently, they tried to convince a few other lizardmen to kind of join with them so that they had a slightly larger army to storm this castle. That went over about as well as it sounds like it did. They ended up getting into combat and killing 4 guards of the lizardmen, and that's when we had to end it last week. So starting with this week, you guys have just finished laying waste to these lizard men. I'm going to move my mic a little bit. You've just finished laying waste to these lizard men. What would you like to do? Again, you're on the shore uh, of the castle. Like there's again to the east of where you are, there are pens where there are giant lizards, and just a little bit more east from there, there are longhouses, which is where the majority of the lizard men stay. And to the north of your position are all these mud huts that you've been told the bullywugs. That's kind of where they sleep and everything. And they also have pets there. And then you have Castle Neartar itself, which is, when it was originally built, it was a rather well-fortified castle. There is one way into the castle. The castle itself is surrounded by a moat. There's one way into the castle, which is through the barricade. The giant doors that used to serve as a way to keep people out are about worthless. But I think it was either Valdis or Ollie was able to see that there is still a portcullis. It doesn't look all that great, but it's there. So theoretically, if the portcullis was to close, that would create issues for you guys. So, what do you guys want to do?
Among the dead lizardmen that are in front of us, do any of them have that was the bone talisman that he gave us? That would say, "Hey, lizardmen, don't attack these people."
Um,
I think he gave it to one of us, didn't he?
yeah, you guys, if I remember correct, my memory may be bad. I believe it was the leader of the Lizardman Guard that gave you the talisman, right? It wasn't Snapjaw. I know.
Yeah,
that.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't Snapshot.
So yeah, you got that before you killed them. But the other guards were wearing kind of similar things. Not exactly like this particular talisman. You think, again, with none of you guys, despite the fact that I know Valdis speaks Draconic, with none of you guys being familiar with Lizardman society and stuff like that, you can't 100%, like, I mean, there's Draconic runes and stuff like that carved into it that Valdis might be able to sit down for a little while and figure out our proper nouns. But beyond that, you guys don't know enough about the society to really figure out what these necklaces really mean to them without asking them. And as of right now, they don't seem in a very talkative mood.
Huh.
Being dead has that effect. So, are there any more lizardmen around, or was it just those 4 guards? From what you can see where you are right now, you don't see any more. However, again, there are, I think, 2 or 3 longhouses that you can't see into. There is the pen of giant lizards that would theoretically there should be someone that takes care of the giant lizards, kind of like a wrangler or someone that in battle would control the giant lizards, or maybe a few people that do that. You haven't seen them as of yet, so.
I know.
The only thing you know 100% for true right now is that
there were 4 lizardmen guards. They recognized Snapjaw, and your attempts to persuade them didn't work, and then you pushed the issue and they got mad.
Yeah.
So,
No more pushing issues. Anna, do you have that robe and that dragon mask still?
Ribbit.
Can you change out of Toad for?
Ribbit.
I have
Oh,
two coated rolls and a
do,
mask.
do you have
yeah.
it, Anna?
I reach
do.
into my bag of holding and pull out the cloak and mask I have.
I never
now I believe
technically.
both of you guys have cloaks that came
Yeah, I was
off
gonna
of
say,
dead bodies.
mine were in better condition.
Okay.
I remember because I
I,
pillaged them
the,
from the first episode, and I haven't technically taken off the robes. I'm
the,
still wearing them.
Yeah,
the dead,
I
the dead,
got my robes out of the cat.
Oh, okay.
what weapons were the lizardmen wielding?
They were wielding spiked shields and I believe it was clubs, if I remember correctly. Lizardmen in general tend to prefer. They are technologically they are a little bit less advanced than the other races. So, oh no, they were wielding. They're still wielding spiked shields, but they were actually wielding steel longswords.
Right.
Which I think
And
Valdis, you would be the only person that might know this if you want to roll a history check.
Anna, since yours is a little more bloody, I take it you don't mind if I try and use this to frame things, do you?
21 on history.
Go ahead.
So while they're doing that, you would know that the ability to forge steel weapons is beyond lizardmen, or steel weapons of the quality that they were using. They obviously would have had, somebody else would have had to give them these weapons.
I have a question for you, Jody.
Sure.
Since I have as a cleric, one level in cleric, have shield proficiency, and I have the warcaster, could I use the shield and still cast my wizard spells?
Yeah, with the warcaster feat, yes. Without it, no.
I want to take one of those spike shields then.
Okay. It's not made for a human, so you wouldn't get the full benefit from it, is all I can say. Like being proficient in shields themselves is a lot different than being proficient in something that's built for a creature that, while is humanoid in shape, is bigger than you are.
Fair point.
So if you want to, you can. The issue is going to be you're not going to get the full. I believe shields are +2 to your AC. You're only going to get +1 because it's unwieldy. And if you attempt to make an actual offhand attack with the spike shield portion of it, it's going to be made without your proficiency bonus, because I'm going to say you're not proficient in spiked shields as a weapon. Unless you happen to have the shield master feat. So.
All right, then I'll leave it on the ground.
So, Jody, what I'm going to do is Anna's cloak is a little bloody and cut from because where we got it. I'm going to rub it in the dirt a bit and then throw it to the side as if it was discarded quickly.
Okay.
And then with the mask, I'm going to take one of their long swords and sort of chop into it, try and not get it too deep, but then leave the sword there.
Okay.
And then cut my hand with my dagger and sort of leave a blood trail leading out into the marsh and then chug a healing potion because I'm hurt anyway.
Okay. None of that is physically or technically demanding, so you're able to pull that off without too much difficulty.
Okay, sort of like framing is what I'm trying to go for here. All right.
I could have just eaten one of the bodies and walked past the lizard men with the feet hanging out of my mouth. Since the frogs are their pets.
Yeah.
Well, again, what you transformed into and the pets that they have are two different creatures.
Species, yeah.
Yeah. We're talking about a giant toad versus a giant frog.
It's dark.
Yes,
So
but one's a medium-sized creature and one's a large-sized creature. That's kind of like mistaking a Buick for a bike. It's like, well, it had wheels and it was moving. It was a bike.
But lizard men.
As the cut on my hand seals up from the potion, I'm just like, I hope this is enough.
So you now have a very dirty and even more bloody cultist robe. You have a cultist mask that is now damaged slightly with a sword. The mask itself is not really sturdy enough to wedge the sword into it. Like, you can cause some damage to it that obviously would have been made by a sword. But the mask itself, I don't think I have any pictures I can show you guys. I wish I did. The mask itself kind of covers here and has like kind of spikes and stuff like that, but it only really covers their eyes, and then has some flourishes around it. So,
all right, so it's like the sword damage, put the sword back where it was, and then like leave the damaged mask with the robe, sort of deal. Like they were tossed together, and then the guy ran out into the swamp.
Sure. At this point, Snapjaw comes back and just looks at you incredulously. Looks at the robe. Looks at you. And just stares.
Yeah, Snapjaw?
What you doing?
Have you seen these robes before?
Yes, they are from dragon kneelers.
If your tribe comes here, do you think they'd believe that the dragon kneelers did this?
No.
No.
Why would dragon kneelers kill dragon kneelers with weapons they gave to lizard men? Makes no sense.
I thought it was the dragon kneelers would be killing lizard men and then you'd want revenge. I don't know.
But dragon kneeler robe covered in blood. No body. But robe covered in blood and mask is shattered by weapons dragon kneelers gave to the lizard men. This looked like lizard men tried to kill dragon kneelers.
They wouldn't. Your tribe wouldn't assume the other way around.
No. Nothing. You have nothing here that show dragon kneelers try to hurt lizard men. You only have things here that show lizard men try to kill dragon kneelers.
I think what he's saying, Altier, is that we need to kill you and leave your body here as evidence.
Stinky one has a good idea.
um,
If you want, and he pulls out like a crude bowed dagger, I can do it for you very quick, very kind of painless.
Well, what do you
And
guys
he
want to
just starts
do?
moving towards Altier.
No,
Not
I do.
menacing, just walking towards him,
No. I'm like,
thinking this is part of the plan.
Valdez, please stop him.
I try not to be about that job, but I say, there may not be too bad. That totally think that the rhythm band kills their people, they may retaliate and they may leave it open it for us.
Dragon nailers no come out. They make lizard men come out. Dragon kneelers never see this.
What do you guys want to do? We're outside a castle. There's only one entrance unless we find some way to scale a wall unnoticed. Other than that, there's the lizard men and there's the bullywugs.
Would be impressive, to be perfectly honest. Especially with how old the castle is. Scaling the wall might mean, pieces of the wall falling and crumbling while you're scaling it.
And Baldus would somehow die from a 2-foot drop that way.
Yeah. No, see, Valdis would just be standing on top of the moat, watching the rest of his friends plunge to their death. Going, if you guys had water walk.
How tall are these walls, by the way?
It's a 3-story castle, so I think the towers go up 3 stories.
30 feet.
Are there any windows?
I don't think so in a wall.
And
in the
technically,
in the barricade, the second level of the barricade does not have a roof over top, so it is open air.
Because I was going to say, technically, I can cast Water Walk on us.
But it's like, I don't know.
So the moat itself is not like level with the ground going up to the castle or everything. Like the moat's another like 10 or 15 feet below the level of the barricade. Because that's what you would want is because if it was that high, the bad stuff that's in the moat could get out of the moat.
So
Question, just because
moats are designed to be very, very unpleasant, and bad things are generally put in there, whether that's excrement and things like that from the castle, whether that's creatures that they put in there specifically to deter people from trying to cross the moat. The entire purpose of a moat is to not allow people to get into the castle.
Question, just because I have to. How are the meticulations?
The what?
Meticulations, the things they like the walls extended a bit so you can shoot arrows down at people trying to climb the wall.
Because of how I'm gonna see if I can show you guys a picture that doesn't give away too much.
I've never sieged the castle before, guys. Anybody have a trebuchet?
So the way that this castle is built, the castle is basically built on kind of like an island thing. It's surrounded entirely by the moat, and then the barricade is actually built on the same land that you guys are standing on, the dry land. And because of this swamp all around them, the castle is, compared to the rest of the swamp, the castle is probably like 20 feet above the rest of the swamp on this kind of, island pillar almost thing. And so the only way to get into the castle at all is you have the barricade, and then there is a hallway that goes from the barricade into the castle proper.
Well, I have an idea. Anna, do you still have a transformation?
I do still have one more beast shape.
Can you fly yet?
No.
Okay. Valdis, how many people can you make fly?
0 because I took a level in cleric, so I don't have 3rd level spells.
My idea won't work.
I think now that you say that you haven't been in the castle, correct?
No, I go in castle a few times, bringing in shinies for the dragon kneelers.
How far into it have you been?
Just to big center. Then dragon kneelers take everything. I go through the spiky door and then through the hallway, and then you get to the big center. And that's where we left all the shinies for the dragon kneelers. There are some lizard men that live in the castle, have gone deeper in, but I went and got the shinies. That was my job.
Do you think either you could go as far as you can with us, or just tell us how to get to you, and then after you're done, come back and tell whoever we spot the scene that it goes revolting against the Dragon Player out here is suggesting.
Just so I get the gist of what you're saying, are you asking him if he can go in and convince people to come out of the castle?
No, I basically want you to stay here and convince whoever comes of Altier's story.
Oh, okay. You know you've got a couple of days before well, theoretically no one else is coming. You guys killed the group that was going out to get another shipment of quote unquote shinies. Probably within a week or so, when the shinies aren't getting taken away, when the gold and everything is sitting in that room for much longer than it's supposed to, someone will eventually come in and contact somebody here. But it's gonna take a while for that to happen.
Alright, so it really isn't necessary to try and find what happened.
Depending on, I mean, if you guys are planning on making this a summer home, you may want to, move some things around. But the likelihood of somebody coming back, again, you killed the people that were going out, and it's a 2-day journey out there and a 2-day journey back. And you caught them at the end of their first day. So bare minimum, no one is expecting anybody back for 3 days.
At least we have this necklace thing that will supposedly give us lizardman protection.
So then I
Of course, you
say,
killed the guy that
yeah.
gave it to you, so.
Only Snapjaw knows that.
He was a dick.
You're right, you
Wait,
was.
guys, I have a brilliant idea. This worked really well for us last time.
Oh, what is it?
So we have two robes and two masks of the cultist.
Yeah.
Faltus could change himself to appear like a cultist. So three of us could appear as cultists to capture the other two and bring them in as prisoners.
Or the other one, and then one of you has a halfling hiding under you. I don't
We can do
like
that
being
too.
I don't like being prisoner after the past things that have happened to me while I've
Right.
been
We
traveling
can
with you guys.
right. So four of us can be in disguise. We can pretend to have captured Liliane and bring her in to face justice.
Yeah, and I am probably about over the crew. The whole actor thing.
You
And then we can tell
you
them that
bring
her
Fire Lady? You give them to cultists?
well no, this is brilliant. We go in, we've already got the bloody robes. We can pretend one of us was attacked, or one of us is badly wounded. We can tell them that we captured one of them, but the rest of the party is in the swamp. We need to send out search parties after them. Clear the castle out.
Dragon Kneelers don't come out of the castle. Where Dragon Kneelers don't come out of castle.
No, but they can send
Why
the
why are
bullywogs
you
out.
outside the castle? Dragon Kneelers know each other. They don't know you.
You came out. No, we were traveling here with news. Important news. We need to speak to one of them. Very important.
Okay. Does Snapjaw come along? Because Snapjaw would much rather not come along. But much easier to stay alive while you die.
Yeah. I never thought I'd agree with Snapjaw.
They don't really wear the robes outside anyway. It's more of a formal thing, I feel.
And
There are, from what you guys have seen, the only time there are two kinds of robes you can find. There are your regular kind of black Cult of the Dragon robes, and then there are very special purple robes that are specifically tailored for people. I think one of the sets you might have. I think the one,
have one.
yeah,
Might say
was tailored specifically for the person that ran the hatchery and that bandit camp. And those people are of a high rank, and that's why they have their own custom robes made for them and things like that, and they're a very different color.
the ones that I have were dark black.
Yep, those are your standard cultist robes. The only time you've seen any of the cultists wear that is when they are surrounded only by other cultists. Not to bring up, a racially insensitive thing, but you don't see KKK members walking around in their full getup. No, the only time that they wear it is when they're at meetings. The same is true of these cultist robes. They wear them when they're at, cultist meetings. The mask is a way for them to hide their identity in case someone were to observe one of the meetings. Now that I think about it, there's a remarkable amount of similarities But I think that's true of most cults in general, most secret cults.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know that the only time they would wear these robes is if they're specifically displaying a show of force. Like, look, the cult of the dragon is here. You need to fear us. Or they are having some sort of a meeting or get together, something like that, where allegiance is important, but anonymity is also important. So that's what the robes signify. Is fear and anonymity is what they're used for.
So Snappy, do you have any ideas on ways we could get in there?
Yes, there is door with big teeth.
And the odds of us dying as soon as we walk through that door.
What mean odds?
What
Are
the
there
chances?
guards?
Is it likely that we'll die if we walk through the door?
The door is not alive. It will not eat you.
Are there guards on the other side that watch
You
it?
think the door will eat you? The lizard men are stupid.
Snapjaw,
We've
are
heard-
there guards that watch the other side of the door?
Yes, bullywugs. They're
How many
lazy.
usually? How many usually?
I don't remember. But they're lazy. They don't do their jobs very well. There are bullywugs on the top. They have a drum that alert the whole castle if there are enemies coming in. The big door and the building is far enough away from the castle that you need the drum to tell everyone in the castle bad things are happening.
How far away would that drum be from where we currently are?
Is on the second level of the building with the teethy door.
How many of your steps from us is that teethy door?
You can kind of look from where you are. Oh, it equals 20 feet. Damn. 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82, 60. You're looking about between 250 and 300 feet from where you guys are is where the barricade is. And it's
Aaron,
uphill a little bit.
He said the drum is over that door?
It's on the second floor. So
that's
there's
many
you have
feet
the
up.
barricade itself, and then you have an upper deck type thing, because again it's open air, so there's no roof to it or anything. But generally, Altier, you might be familiar with this, and Valdis, you would be familiar with this because being a noble, you know how castles work. That would be open air, so that everything from everything from boiling oil, big cauldrons of boiling oil that could be poured on attackers below, to the ability to shoot from up there. Like that's the entire purpose of the barricade is kind of the first line of defense.
So we need to take them out quickly and quietly, preferably.
And again, Snapjaw specifically mentioned that it's far enough away from the castle, like the hallway in between the barricade and the castle proper is 20, 60, 80, is at least about 200 feet long. So I mean, again, you're talking about a significant distance. Where depending on how loud the battle was, and stone walls and stuff like that, there's a very good chance that you guys could have a bit of a scuffle, and
Be
unless
unnoticed.
the warning, unless the warning drum was sounded, no one would know. You know what might actually, tell you more is someone maybe with, shape-changing powers turning into something small and actually scouting ahead so you know what it is that you're dealing with instead of dealing with someone that can't speak in complete sentences and has only been inside the castle a couple of times.
Is it dark? Oh wait, you can't fly, so that wouldn't work. Just do what you want to do.
Yeah, I can't fly. I mean, I could turn into a trash panda. And
A swamp raccoon.
I could turn into a swamp raccoon.
You also are aware mice inhabit castles.
Or a mouse. And I could sneak up there, see what's going on, and then either come back. Oh yeah, I'd have to come back. Or doesn't Voldus have an owl? Voldus, don't you have an owl? A familiar?
Way to bring up old bridges that I hope are never come. You mean the one that's been killed twice?
Oh, sorry.
Again,
All right.
when you use it as a scout, there's always a chance that the scout is going to, get caught. Unfortunately for you, it's gotten caught.
I will turn into a mouse and scout.
Okay.
While he's doing that, can we, I don't know, move the dead lizard folk from the gate?
Sure. Again, you guys are on the beach right now. So if you guys want to move them to, you can toss them into the swamp. You really do whatever you want with the bodies. Snapjaw doesn't seem particularly upset that they were killed. I mean, they did make the first move, so.
Bodies and just, I guess, discuss things. Pseudo rest, but not really. I don't know how much time.
So, Anna, I need you to make me a stealth dexterity or a dexterity stealth check.
I can cast invisibility on you if you want.
Yes, please.
Okay. I will do that.
Also
make
cast,
that with advantage.
Bless. I believe that's what that was.
Okay. I think you can bless up to 3 people, right?
Yeah, for a minute. So
I will also cast Pass Without a Trace on myself.
Okay.
So you get to add a D4 to that roll.
So go ahead and crit and, disappear. And then we'll see you, in the next Dice Camera action game.
So you're a quiet, blessed, invisible mouse.
What is visibility gives me advantage?
Yeah.
Bless gives you an extra D4.
Pass Without Trace gets you plus 10.
So only 30.
Only 30. Okay. You think you're stealthed. Roll for initiative.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you have no problem getting up there. The ground is much drier and everything here. Looking around, you kind of get the idea of what kind of, if you've ever seen a swamp rat before, you change into a little bit smaller, like maybe a younger version of a swamp rat, because swamp rats get big. And the one thing you don't want to be is noticed. Or I guess with you being invisible doesn't matter, but. So you turn into kind of a swamp rat to kind of blend with the surroundings. And you get in there, and what do you see?
Well, he's gone. I'm just going to be relaxing. Maybe get the benefits of a short rest if he's gone long enough.
I'm going to laugh if you, gnaw through the drum or something.
I would take that back, because Bless is for attack rolls and saving throws, so this really wouldn't count towards that.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
20.
That's guidance.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, was guidance.
Okay. So, you get in. You get in there and you look around. Make me a perception check.
Oh, 19.
You think it's probably the maid's day off, or maybe year off, in the barricade. It is completely covered in muck and garbage. You see roughly about 10 bullywugs kind of loafing around in the lower barricade. And you also see... I have to roll for this. Four giant frogs, just kind of around. You notice that none of them, like, they're armed. None of them are really taking their job very seriously right now. Like, a lot of them are sitting down. There's a couple that are just kind of chilling, playing cards. One of them looks like he might be almost asleep. They're just kind of lounging around. Every so often, they'll, like, you'll hit something, you're making noise, and you'll see all of them react to it, meaning they're not completely unaware of their surroundings. But for the most part, they don't seem particularly concerned that someone is going to come in.
And that's on the
first
floor?
Bottom floor. If you wanted to go to the top floor, there is a set of stairs you can climb that will get you to the top floor.
I would like to go to the top floor.
Okay, again, not very difficult. As you get to the second floor, and the really annoying thing about this is they do everything by floor. Like, they give me every single room of the castle on the bottom floor on one page, and then go back, even though you can't go back to the barricade, to tell me what's in the upper barbican. Barbican, not barricade, sorry. Looks like there's 9 bullywugs up here. You see hundreds of melon-sized stones are piled around the battlements for throwing down on the heads of attackers. Many of the piles have collapsed, and the bullywugs are too lazy to restack them. The causeway, which is what connects the Barbican with the rest of the castle, is fully exposed to archers positioned at the rear of the Barbican. But in the 5 minutes that you're up there, you never see a bullywug even glance in that direction. The main feature of this area is a signal drum carved from an enormous hollow log. This drum can be heard for miles when it is beaten vigorously. You guys have probably, since you've been there, heard the drum beat once. And again, looking around, whatever that drum... You don't know what the drum beat means, but whatever the drum beat means did not get these people on edge. Again, they're lounging around. They have the makings of a very defendable position. You know, again, with all the rocks and everything, like they could mount a very simple defense against a pretty overwhelming force. You do see, I believe it's up here. I'm going to check, because the portcullis is actually... I'm going to assume. I'm going to say up here you also do see a lever that you naturally assume is the control to the portcullis.
Okay.
It's very, very old. It looks like it has not been used in a very, very long time. Again, downstairs, everything was covered with mud and muck because that's kind of what bullywugs like. The only thing that wasn't was there was kind of this pathway built with these boards that were just laid on the floor. You're not exactly sure what it was for, but that was really the only pathway through there that wasn't covered in muck and stuff. When you get up here, it's not quite as dirty, but it's still obvious that this is a very, very old castle that has not been used the way it's supposed to be used in centuries, probably.
Okay. And I don't see, like, I'm just trying to think. Like, looking down at the causeway, I don't see, like, a part of the wall that's been deteriorated that somebody could sneak through or anything like that.
No. Looks like the walls themselves are, for the most part, intact. And they're thick. These are like siege-level walls. So even
How
a couple
big-
bricks and things like that falling out would not make a difference.
How big and how heavy is that drum?
Pretty big. You think that in your human form, what's your strength?
10.
You think that you might be able to move it on your own. It's really big. It would be more awkward than anything else because it's a hollowed out log with a stretched animal skin on it. So weight wise, it's not going to be like massive, but it's big enough that it can be heard for miles. So think like if I say the word timpani, do you know what that a timpani is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Think like timpani-sized drum, only made from a log, like smaller.
And-
One of the higher pitched timpanis, the smaller timpanis.
Does it look like they have wooden mallets to play it, or like metal sticks to beat it?
They do have something to beat it with. For the life of me, I couldn't tell you what they're made out of. They don't actually list it in here. But if I had taken an idea based on my understanding of music, it would probably be wooden
Okay.
sticks, kind of akin to like Chinese drums. Have you ever seen those?
Yep. I was a
Very similar.
percussionist, so I
Oh yeah, okay.
I've played timpani before. I was just hoping they were metal. That's all.
Yeah, no, they would. Again, the bullywugs and again using metal on any sort of skin is not going to be the greatest. Skin memory is not going to be the greatest thing for it. Generally, you want something slightly softer.
Right. Okay.
Especially if it was to have sharp edges or something, you could perforate the drum head and be done with it. To be perfectly honest, call me crazy. The only thing I've ever seen you use metal, again, not being a percussionist, the only time I saw people use metal mallets were on things like vibraphones. And even then, they were wrapped in yarn.
Right. I was kind of hoping when you originally said log, hollowed out log, I thought they'd be beating on the side of it.
No! It actually it's an actual
Yeah,
drum. So it has a drum head. So it's a piece of animal skin stretched across one end of it.
Right.
So
I was just hoping.
Yeah. No. It is by definition a drum. So
Okay.
the
right,
log acts as an echoing chamber.
Okay. And about how long have I been gone now?
How long does invisibility last?
Should be an hour.
1 hour. Sorry, my mic was muted. Dogs are going crazy.
That's fine. Let's say, kind of exploring everything, it has taken you roughly about 15, 20 minutes to go through all of this. Again, you weren't that far away. They do not seem particularly concerned about you, so it's not like you've had to be real snaky while you've been in here. You're invisible.
Right. All right. I am gonna sneak back down the stairs, and then down the causeway.
Sickening click sound and then a hissing sound as No, you're fine. Again, you really, with how many different spells you have cast on you right now, you really have no difficulty getting back out to your friends. They're a little bit surprised when you get there.
I wanted to go down the causeway.
Oh, you want to go down the causeway?
Into the center of the castle.
Then that I am going to need a stealth check.
And guidance is only for one roll, so you don't get the D4.
Yeah, so you have advantage, and you add plus 10 to whatever your stealth bonus is in that form.
Oh, you guys can't see me. Thank goodness. 20.
So with advantage and with
knowing
your
you.
bonus, it would have been a 10.
I have real good stealth.
So again, the causeway itself, roughly about 180 feet. This takes you a fair amount of time. Like the majority of your time, of the 20 minutes, was spent moving the 300 feet. Because I don't think, what's your speed as a mouse? It can't be more than 15, 20 feet. Just because you're super
let me
tiny.
double check. Right. I want to say it's 25. 20. Okay. Let me check. The speed of a rat is 20.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Sorry, I had to take care of something.
Okay.
So, yeah, it takes you, another good 5 minutes just to get down the causeway itself because it's really, really long. When you get there, you notice kind of an open area. You do see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 doors leading off in various directions from this we're going to call it the outer ward because that's what they call it on the map. And then a doorway opening where there's no door. There's just kind of an arch where a door either might have been or might have planned to be that leads into a further back section of the castle that you can't really see into from where you are. In the outer ward, the ground here was once hard-packed earth, but the area in front of one of the doors has been churned into mud by flapping bullywug fleet. And you can see bullywugs and lizardmen kind of wandering around. The bullywugs are generally going into the building that has the kind of mud pit in front of it. You think that's kind of where they stay. The lizardmen you do see are working on training their giant lizards or just kind of lounging around
Okay.
Training with no. They're the lizardmen are not lounging around at all. Sorry, I misspoke. The lizardmen are either training their giant lizards or getting ordered around by the bullywugs to do, menial tasks, stuff like that. With the fact that you don't speak Draconic, you have a hard time figuring out what specifically that they're saying. But you kind of get the gist.
Okay.
You
All
read
right.
people pretty well.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of remember everything I can, and then head back down the causeway towards my friends.
Okay. The whole trip takes another like 20-ish, 25 minutes. So by the time you get there, invisibility is just about to wear off along with pass out trays.
Okay.
So if you guys, if the rest of you guys want, you can say you took a short rest. And unfortunately, you don't get the short rest because you were working. But
Aw, no more beast shapes for me. Okay, guys. So here's what I saw. In the Barbican, on the first floor, there's 10 bollywogs, about 4 of those giant frog things, lazing around. They don't seem to be paying a lot of attention, but they are paying some attention at least. On the second floor, there were, I think, 9 of them, and the big drum, which looks very, very big. I also snuck in down the causeway and saw a number of bollywogs and lizard men and giant lizards in the inner ward. So, what should we do?
If you can get me up to that drum, I could deal with it.
And how do we get up there?
I mean, it could just make you both invisible if you want to go back to sabotage the drum.
as you guys are sitting here talking, you suddenly hear the drum sound again. It's different drum beat than the one that you heard before.
We turn to Snap and be like, hey, do you know what that means?
Shift change.
Shift change.
That's a big word for you, Snapjaw.
2 words.
What time is it about?
You guys are now pushing like afternoon.
Okay.
Because combat took a little bit, and then recovery and talking with Snapjaw and all this stuff. You arrive there kind of mid morning, and now you're afternoon, getting closer to the evening.
Snapjaw, when they change shift, is there somebody that's there already, or are they calling for people to come over?
I do not work in the castle. I just know that is drum for shift change. We that collect the shinies do not work in the same shifts. We have shifts, but they are 2-day, 3-day long, 4-day long journeys. We try to stagger the different groups that go out so that none of the shinies are waiting too long, but
I don't know. I think
another group going out for more shinies may be leaving tonight or tomorrow.
Oh, guys, what do you think?
If you make...
Will we be just blatantly attacked if we walk in? We haven't asked Snapjaw that question yet.
So that's what you're asking, Snapjaw?
Not if we walk in the castle. If we walk into where all the lizard folk are staying. Essentially, where Enna just went.
Well, that's where all the bullywugs are.
So yes.
Yeah.
And the bullywugs are there to guard the castle. Like, that is their job. They're not doing a great job of it, but that is their purpose for being there.
So the bullywugs and lizardmen are all in one area?
The Barbican is only bullywugs. When you get into the outer ward of the castle, which is like a little courtyard, there are some bullywugs and there are some lizardmen. But generally it looks like the bullywugs are just kind of sitting on their asses there, where the lizardmen are actually working. Whether it's, training their giant lizards or, doing menial tasks, sweeping up the dirt from the dirt floor. Whatever the bullywugs can get them to do.
Enna,
Yes.
about how long did it take you to get to that drum?
About 15 minutes, maybe. Being very quiet.
Because I have an idea. It would, tap me out of my, ever so useful third level spells that I don't have slots. But I could, in theory, make 2 people invisible. They go to the drum. Wait about 20-25 minutes. Make 2 more people invisible. So we essentially sneaking in there, but I wouldn't know how.
Well, invisibility is a concentration spell.
Yeah, I know. Drop on the people who are there. That's why I'm trying to gauge time if we wanted that option. I just wouldn't have any 3rd level spells, and I'd be down 1 2nd level spell. But
Well, if you make 2 of us invisible, we sneak in, get into position, and then the rest of you come up, we could then use that as the signal and, protect the drum. Make sure nobody can beat it.
was there a lot of foot traffic on Enna's way to the drum?
Not really, no.
Okay.
And Enna, being you being a percussionist, you do understand that if you pierce the drum head, it no longer works.
Hello.
Right.
So, and it is made of animal skin. It is a very primitive drum.
Right.
So piercing it.
Right. So a good
disabling the
a good
drum
slash
would not be a very difficult thing for you guys to do, and it would be useless.
What do you think the other lizardmen would do if we attack the bullywug that were walking over them where they were? Would they come to the bullywug to fight? Or would they just not do anything?
Are you asking Snapjaw?
Yeah.
Well, we train the giant lizards to fight. If we see a fight, we are proud. We show our prowess in combat. You would have to convince the lizard men not to fight.
We should try that. We should sneak into the gate.
Yeah.
Right.
Time,
But I think we should wait until tonight.
Yeah.
Attack under the cloak of darkness while the castle sleeps.
Okay, you probably have complete nightfall, like twilight. You probably have about 2.5, 3 hours. Complete darkness, easily 4 or 5 hours.
Was it we try to get into position so we can move right after the shift change. To try to the in between shift changes.
I don't know. I would be afraid of doing it in between a shift, or to doing it at a shift change. We'd have double the people, but maybe an hour or so after a shift change, when people have
Yeah.
kind of settled down.
Shift change. Big, big building with teeth, never without guards.
Right.
So shift change, twice as many guards there. Then the first guards leave.
Yep. So
If we wait a little bit and then the spells are cast and then we start getting into position, that'll be best.
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
So are we just waiting till dark?
I think so. Take a short rest,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then I can get the benefits of a short rest.
So normally this is where we would watch them and all their plans go to shit. However, my medication is really not working right now, so I unfortunately have to call the game for tonight. I'm really, really sorry that this was such a short session. But yeah, meds are fun, and I have to be very careful with them right now because they keep changing my meds. So thank you so much for tuning in. I do have, I believe, almost all, if not all, of the episodes of this on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/TrainerJody. So if you want to see some of the other crazy things that these guys have done, go ahead and check that out. And you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at TrainerJody there. Also, this weekend will be the second episode of the Zelda RPG that I run. It's called Realms of the Wild. It's on the Zelda Universe Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/Zelda Universe TV at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Just think of it as the return of good Saturday morning cartoons. So feel free to tune in. The last episode was very, very well received. We had hundreds of people watching. They had an absolute blast. So we'd love to see you guys there. Otherwise, that is all from me today, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.